1 Corinthians 11:16. I'm assuming the question relates to, well, let's read it first. The first 15 verses of 1 Corinthians 11, the Apostle Paul has just explained the head coverings for sisters in the ecclesia and why that's important, and explains the rationale behind it. And then at the end of those 15 verses, verse 16 says, "But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the ecclesias of God." So I'm assuming the question relates to, does that say, therefore, that head coverings are not that important, that we shouldn't be contentious about the issue? The Apostle Paul has just mentioned it, but then said, maybe, we shouldn't be contentious about it, we shouldn't really strive with each other over it, just leave it like that. Does that sound right? I find it quite remarkable to think that that would be the interpretation, since the Apostle Paul has just spent 15 verses under Spirit guidance explaining why head coverings are important. Why would he then say, but by the way, it's not really important, let's just not even talk about it or be contentious about it? The key thing is that he says we have no such custom, neither the ecclesias of God. And it's a theme in 1 Corinthians that there is an instruction for the ecclesias of God as a whole, that the ecclesias of God should have common practice. So to prove this, let's look at 1 Corinthians 4, verse 17. So he says, "For this cause have I sent to you Timotheus, who is my beloved son and faithful in the Lord, who shall put you in remembrance of my ways which be in Christ, as I teach everywhere in every ecclesia." So that's one of the repetitions we find in Corinth. I'm trying to tell you the ways that are carried out and taught in every ecclesia. So look at chapter 7, verse 17. "But as God hath distributed to every man as the Lord hath walked, everyone so let him walk, and so ordain I in all the ecclesias." So what I'm teaching you is not just relevant for Corinth. It's not Corinth specific, as is some of the arguments that we hear in the world today. This is for all the ecclesias, and you can't get away from that. It's throughout the book of Corinthians. Let's just look at one more, chapter 14 and verse 33. "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the ecclesias of the saints." So what is written in Corinth applies to all the ecclesias. It's not just Corinth specific. So what we find in 1 Corinthians 11 is applied to all the ecclesias. And so what the Apostle Paul is saying, I've just told you the importance of head covering. It's not Corinth specific. It applies to all the ecclesias of God. So some translate, you may have a different version which translates it a little bit easier to understand. So some of them will translate it like this: "But if any man seems to be contentious," or that word is a lover of strife, if anyone wants to be a lover of strife over this issue, we have no such custom, or, as many translate it, there is no other custom other than wearing the head covering in the ecclesias of God. And that's the simple answer to that question. It cannot be applied to just saying, well, maybe this teaching of head covering is just for Corinth. The whole point of Corinthians is to teach them, to bring them into line with the practice which is found in all the ecclesias of God. And that's what Paul is teaching. And so what he's clearly saying is, look, I've just told you the importance of head covering, and if anybody wants to be a lover of strife on this issue, let him be told there is no other custom other than that I've just explained to you in all the ecclesias of God. So that's what I think is being referred to in 1 Corinthians 11:16.